Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Asked data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Hello, good morning and happy Friday everybody. Thank you for coming here. Now that we're all gathered, I have to say that I have a confession to make. And I know it might not be the best place. My boss is right now looking at me like, got it, it's not the place. But yeah guys, I cannot hold it any longer. I am not a detail-oriented person. And I know that many of us have claimed in the past that we were great, detail-oriented specialists that love to work in teams and thrive under pressure. Not to say that it sounds a bit fake, but I think that most of us have made to believe that it was a weakness when in reality it's a huge strength. And what it means is that you are a big picture person, and that's a great strength. So I'm lucky to work at this agency. We cover 18 languages in-house, so as you can imagine, we cover so many markets all over the world, so you really need to think outside of the box and have a wide look at everything to think of strategies that will work everywhere, literally. And I'm going to give you an example of what we've done for our clients and how we did it. And it was mainly identifying growing trends. So we identified the red tide trends, and maybe you're not a fashionista, you didn't realize about this trend. But if you've been outside a little bit or you've been in social media, maybe you've realized some people are wearing red tights quite often. Just to let you know, just in the UK, this trend grew more than 400% only in 3 months. And why if I'm telling you, we were able to identify this trend back in 2022. So our clients were able to get ahead of the trends, get before the competitors, and get so much value from it. And I'm going to explain you how we identified these trends and how can you do it too. But for that, I want to address the first problem that you might encounter. You probably go to the traditional tools, the ones that have the keywords, search volumes, maybe some competition, and classic metrics. But what I'm sure is that you go narrow focus on the search volumes. Not to say this is wrong, this is completely fine. The search volumes are a good indicator. But what you might be missing is the interest. And yeah, to be honest, many of those high search volume keywords tend to have not the best interest, or let's say, in other words, decrease in interest. So it's not on trend anymore. So is it really valuable to use these keywords for your content or for your strategy if the interest is decreasing? Not really. You want something that is actually increasing in interest, right? All right, so for this, you really need to understand the trend curve and how does it work. So I'm going just to give you 2 insights on, let's say, to identify when the trend is actually growing and when it's decreasing, so you will be able to spot it quite easily later on. So when a trend is increasing, you have educated users, you have more engaging users, the ones that love your company, love that industry specifically, are very interested in that niche topic. But those keywords tend to have lower search volumes. And one indicator is that the positive change that they have in interest, especially when it comes to month out of month or even week by week. And then naturally it got to a point that peaks and naturally decreases. And this is when we have non-engaged users. Maybe they are there just because they are there, but not because they like the industry, not because they like you, not because they know you, they just happen to be there. And those are when the keywords have the highest search volumes, obviously because it's an average and it's covering the peak that already happened. And we tend to identify those trends because the interest is decreasing, especially year over year. But this is how it looks in real life. We got 2 different topics here. And as you can imagine, you have to move resources quite quickly, depending on the case of the topic, right? We have skinny jeans in one side and Barbie in another side. So for skinny jeans, we already have realized, most of us, that this trend is decreasing. But there's still market to it. There's still users interested in it, and it will decrease later and later in some years. But for example, we have Barbie here, and in this case, obviously, we all know Barbie. It's been around since forever. But this peak was when the movie was released, obviously. So if you want to integrate anything related to Barbie in your campaigns, in your strategy, you have to be able to move very, very quick, right? Because there was some noise when the movie was going to release. People watched it. There was more noise because people watched it and had a review about it, and then that's it. There's nothing to do with it, so why using it for your campaigns, right? There's no point. So, okay, let's go into how to identify these trends, and I want to circle back to what I said at the beginning. You have to shift your view from measuring keywords into analyzing broader topics. You have to have a big picture perspective. And for this, my biggest advice will be you have to immerse yourself in the industry. You have to know what's going on in the industry that you work in. You don't have to become an expert, but you definitely should listen to what the experts are saying. And another advice would be not only in the industry, you have to know what's going on in the world every day, because many of those trends happen cross-industry. Maybe of you, let's put it as an example, you work in retail. Maybe something is trendy because an influencer wear it at the red carpet, or because there's a relaunch of a Netflix series, or because there's a movie out there. And yeah, you don't work for movies, you don't work for series, but it happened that it affects you, right? All right, now that we got this out of the way, let's go in detail on how I would identify those trends, right? And for this, you have to use social media. And I know back in the day, people that research trends had to go out there on the street and look at what were people was wearing, what people were doing, where people actually. But now in social media, we have access to that, and we don't even have to leave our house. And you don't have to lose your time, you don't have to dumb scroll. I will explain you how to go into detail and analyze it like a pro. So for this, you just have to go to any social platform that has a search bar. It can be TikTok, it can be Instagram. I used Instagram, for instance. And then you will have to search for a broad topic in the search bar, and you will get in return what I like to call social SERP, which is the search result page, but just for the social media platform. And it's actually, like, the algorithm is recommending you to see the content that is the most engaging one and the most relevant of the topic that you type in the search bar, obviously. So I would recommend you to analyze in detail the 3-4 first videos that you've seen appearing. And for this, not only you have to, let's go for the first one, for example, and we will give some examples on how I would do it. So you have to analyze everything, right? So you have to watch the video completely and listen to what they're saying, but also taking notes of everything and realizing on the language they're using, identifying some keywords there. And for this, you have to go Mourinho style and try to take notes of everything. Not only the content, as I said, but also read the captions read even the hashtags. And something you should never miss is the comment sections. And why is that? All right, if we are searching for color combinations, as you've seen before, obviously in this video you are seeing one people's opinion. Obviously it's the content creator, right? But not really, because in the comment section we have a little community of people validating the ideas of the content creator and even adding more ideas and personal experiences to it, so you can analyze everything they're saying. And we're going to analyze it together so you can see how I would do this research and all of the insights that we're going to find. So the first comment reads, okay, the pastel yellow is the cutest. So, okay, the girl was wearing some outfits with color combinations, and at some point she was wearing some pastel yellow. So what is this indicating of? She's indicating that this color, for some reason, was the most popular one. So, okay, I'm taking notes. Pastel yellow is very interesting. Second comment reads, all right, oh my God, you inspire me. This is an indicator that the trend is actually increasing. There's some people getting inspired by others. There are some people that is going to adapt into the trend later on. So the peak is not already there. Then we have this other comment which is super interesting because it says, where is the blue skirt and the pink dress from? Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but for me this sounds like commercial intent. Then the last comment reads, all right, I'll be using this all my spring. All right, so this is a time frame. This is letting us know when is the peak going to happen. Only in spring. Maybe after spring, this is not even going to be as popular anymore. So if you work in any field and for some reason colors are interesting for you and you want to adapt pastel yellow in your strategies, I will move resources really quick, actually before spring ends. All right, so we have our list of our keywords, ideas, language, whatever it is, and we go to analyze it, obviously. Where are we going? We're going to Pinterest trends. Why is that? Well, in Pinterest, we can search in the bar for topics. I'm stressing this so much because it's not keywords, it's just topics. And then it will give us a validation on where are we in the trend bar, in the trend graph, right? So here is the trend, and we will see, are we increasing, are we decreasing, have we reached the peak yet, haven't we? But another super interesting thing that I love about Pinterest trend is that, is that you can actually export so many of their insights they have for different markets. You can choose your market, choose your industry, and then they will give you some insights of weekly interest change, monthly ones, and yearly ones. And this is really interesting because we were talking about the interest change is a really important metric, right? But to be honest, if I want to do a very complete keyword research or a very complete content audit, I will also pair this information with the search volumes. Because I don't want you to walk out this room and think, okay, this lady said that the interest change was super interesting and I'm not going to care about the search volume anymore. No, actually, both have to work together. If you want to have a, let's say, more complete keyword research, you want to create a content audit that has trendy ideas and you can identify them, you have to combine both metrics and never neglect any of them. And you know, if there's, let's say, you identify a topic that is increasing in relevancy, doesn't have that much search volume, doesn't mean that you should add it everywhere in your content or you should do any campaign with it. Well, I mean, it really depends. You have to really work yourself the way, right? But because I'm super generous, I created this template where you can download all of your insights from keyword planners and Rush, wherever it is, and Pinterest trends. And you can both combine both metrics, and it will highlight for you emerging trends which are the ones that are not established, and also established ones. So you can identify trends like a pro and very easily. And just circling back to what I've said about red tides, you are the experts in your field. You are the ones deciding where to use these trends, where to use these topics in whatever you do. I mean, I work for SEO, so obviously for my clients, we've advised them to create landing pages dedicated to these trends, optimizing product pages. Obviously, because people is looking for this in social media. Then they go to Google because they want to buy it. Where is it going to be found? I mean, I prefer to be my client than anyone else. And because we were able to identify it super quickly, we were able to get before our competitors. But anyway, you can use it for anything, because later on, content from social media was created, and you can use it for anything else. Maybe it's interesting for you, your PR campaigns, or maybe it's interesting for social media. You name it, you are the ones experts in your field, as I said. For us, it worked really well because we were able to scale the positions from the lowest positions to the top 3, and we consistently stay there. So for us, it was worth it because we gained so much value from identifying the trends before our competitors and applying it into different means. Because let's say, for example, these trends were very, very popular for Pinterest or for social media, TikTok, but maybe in Google wasn't there, but we were there for sure. So if it was interesting for you, I hope that you liked it, and see you next time. Thank you.